Welcome to SportZnTouring, and yes, we are still on lockdown, but not as much as we were before. We're now actually allowed to go and visit someone as long as we stay outside and 2 meters apart. So today I'm going to go and see my friend James, who has the YouTube channel JayEmm on cars. Now he's been dying to get his hands on my car. He's got some really cool cars, a Toyota Celica, an S2000 and a 7 Series. Unfortunately, we're not going to get to see the Celica today, it's off being restored, but we are going to get to check out the S2000. And while we're on the subject of Japanese cars, I want to give a big shout out to Exclusive JDM. Now, Exclusive JDM are an invitation-only car club. This allows them to pull together some of the rarest and best modified Japanese cars so that they can have one club stand with all of these amazing cars at all the major car shows. And they're giving you a discount on all their merchandise right now, up to 15% off. All the details, links and voucher codes are in the description. Right, let's hit the road and go and see James.
Finally, a clear road and some fun. Oh, look who it is. It's JayEmm on cars. In his S2000. Where do you want it?
Sort of reverse it into the corner, but leave some space.
And here we are, we've got Mr. JayEmm on cars, James Martin himself, with an absolutely gorgeous S2000 in yellow, which is the safest colour apparently, is what I heard. It's the safest colour, that way you get spotted on the road. You can't possibly miss it, it's absolutely gorgeous, look at it. You would not believe that this car is, what, 2003? Yep, 2003, love it, look at it. How are you doing today?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks you.
Awesome, well I'd shake your hand, but you know we're not allowed to. We're allowed to have at least 2 meters distance and see each other out in the open. So you're going to be filming a review on my car today, right?
Correct.
Awesome, so we're going to get a review on my car on JayEmm on cars, which is absolutely awesome. And he's going to tell me a bit about your S2000, aren't you?
So I've had this car since summer last year, I think. It was almost an accidental purchase. I know a lot of people are really wedded to their S2000s and it's been something they've wanted for a long time. For me, it's actually the opposite. I kind of bought it and then fell in love with it. And I had sold my M3, the 625 brake supercharged track car, because as fun as that was on track, it was just too much for the road. So I wanted to go back to basics and I wanted to get something simple, 2-seater, convertible, just to enjoy. This was a total chance find on Facebook Marketplace. It's an AP1, a pre-facelift, so we never got the AP2 with a bigger engine in the UK. So this has got the 2-litre, 9,000 RPM F20C engine. This is its original colour, which is Indy yellow. In America they called it something else because Indy didn't like Honda using the name. I'm going to do a whole bunch of stuff to it, but honestly I've done about 7,000 or 8,000 miles. It's been my more or less daily driver for the last sort of 7 or 8 months really. And I love it. It's one of the best purchases I've ever made. It puts a huge smile on my face. Whether I drive it and I don't even get into VTEC sometimes, and I still love it. It's just so easy, so simple. Having done the Elise thing, this is just a much more relaxing car.
Every time I see one, it's like, I want one. I want one. It just looks like so much fun. And apparently there's some few interesting quirks about the interior as well, like how all of the climate controls are all around the...
Yeah. So the idea is that when you're driving it, you pretty much don't need to take your hands off the steering wheel to do essentially anything. You'll notice that, so on later cars this covers silver, but all the stereo is completely hidden away. Japanese cars actually had a double din thing here, which I think ruins the whole idea. And then yeah, the idea is with hands on the wheel, you can get to pretty much any control, or you don't have to certainly move far to get to it. This car still has AC and everything in it, and yeah, it's just so basic and so driver focused. And I kind of forget because I get to drive this all the time, but this dash is, I mean, look at the size of my hand compared to the dash. It's absolutely miniature. And the S2000 is really as much about what you don't get as what you do. So, you know, this doesn't even adjust. The seats are pretty basic. You get forward and backwards and you get rake on the back, that's it. The rev counter is supposedly inspired by the McLaren MP45, which is one of Senna's cars. And I have seen a 4.5 in the flesh, and it does look kind of similar to this. It's gone through that stage now as well, where I think, you know, 10 years ago it just looked a bit hokey and a bit out of date and a bit rubbishy, but now it's just kind of retro and cool, and I just love the pure simplicity. Big rev counter, big speedo. That's kind of, you don't even get an outside temperature gauge, you don't get a clock up here, nothing.
One of the reasons why I actually started watching James's channel is because of all of that. What you just heard, like, he can just reel off all these stats, specs, history of the car, everything. Basically, James, my version of what you do is not even close. It's a Nissan, it's white, it's loud. End of conversation as far as I'm concerned.
Well, it's accurate.
That's all I want to be, accurate. I can't be as precise as you. Right, well, what we're going to do is we're going to let James do his thing, and I'm just going to get out of the way and kind of watch what he does and learn from a master, professional YouTuber right here. But one of the ways that James gets such professional content out there is because he takes his time, he writes what he's going to say, doesn't say exactly what he wrote, but kind of goes with the flow still, but then changes the shot between each segment, and it comes out really, really well. If I was a car reviewer, I'd definitely look at him for a good example of how to do a good car review.
So the time has come for us to hit the roads. James set up about 1 million cameras on the car, and it was my turn to get in the Honda S2000, and I've never driven one of these before, and I was quite interested to see what the experience was going to be like.
Okay, now we're on the road. Now, another thing I'm excited about is I've never actually seen my car properly going on the road, and it just looks wicked. Look at it. My car sounds ridiculous. I love it. Now, one of the things they say about this car is for it to really come alive, you need to get it into VTEC and you need to wring the revs out of it. And then you feel the power kick in. Whoa, at 6,000. 6,000 RPM. Wow. 6,000, 7,000. Oh man, I chickened out. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Still only 7,000 RPMs. Oh my God. 6,000 RPM. 7, 8. 8,000 that time. This thing revs up to 9,000 RPM. 9,000. When I was growing up, that was a motorcycle engine. Woo. It's just crazy. I actually had to just say, no, keep your foot in, don't change, don't change, don't change. I love it. Oh my God, look at him. He's going through that corner very much faster than I feel I can go in this car. Yeah, this car just needs a little bit more. A little bit more finesse. I think my car's just a little bit grippier. Could be the tyres and the suspension. Oh. And look at James go. Getting used to the throttle as well. It's got a nice feel to the throttle, very linear, as it's a mechanical throttle rather than these drive-by-wire things. I actually had to get mine remapped so that it was a much more linear experience. Oh, the Z just looks like a beast. The thing that for me was most unexpected is just how short and precise the gear changes feel compared to the 370. The 370's got a decent gear change, but it feels kind of heavy, you know? And you'd expect it to be kind of heavy duty, given that it's a 3.7 litre V6 as opposed to a 2 litre inline 4. But it really does make a difference. This car is great, I love it. It doesn't accelerate as fast, but it's more fun, I think, overall. It feels like the car's having to work. I'm going to be sad to be handing back the keys to this car. I'd never get rid of my Z, but I might seriously consider getting one of these. Thank you very much, James. I really appreciate you letting me drive this car. It's been an absolute blast, and believe me, I'll be more than happy to come back and lend you my car again if I get to drive this. This is a lot of fun, and I really, really like it.
The S2000 rotates really nicely kind of on your hips, and when you're going around the bend, when you load up the outside, the car rotates around you, whereas other cars that I've driven, like the F-Type, kind of rotates a little bit forward of your position. So James was just like, well, where do you think the engine is? And when you look at the bonnet on this thing, if you think about it, look how, that's a relatively long old bonnet.
That's a big bonnet.
Yeah, but he was like, where do you think the engine is? So I would say, I'm going to give you two answers. The first answer is the bonnet makes it look like the engine starts kind of there.
By the lights.
Yeah, and then kind of finishes there. But what my guess would be that the engine is pretty much by your feet, kind of rear of this middle of the front axle.
Starting on the axle line.
Pretty much, yeah, there or thereabouts.
So the axle line's here. Okay.
Yeah.
So we can. Well, you know where the axle line is when we.
Just based on its handling.
Yeah.
Wow, that's actually even slightly further back.
Yeah. So the
that's
axle line
really
is
impressive.
here, so it starts a clear inch or so back.
Behind the axle line, yeah. Then it makes you wonder, why do you need all of this?
Well, there's ducting,
yeah.
There's air intake. Although when I've tuned it up, it's going to push the weight distribution even further back because the air box is all going to go.
Right.
And this heavy intake manifold's all going to go as well.
Yeah. That's impressive though. Look, like, if you look back, I'm going to stand back from the car.
Yep.
And you can see the engine is like there. What's that all about? That's brilliant. I love it. And this is the thing. People talk about, oh, mid-mounted engines, but you've got rear mid and you've got front mid. And this is definitely front mid mounted. So anyway, all I really want to say now, James, is thank you very much for having me down today.
Absolute pleasure.
Did you enjoy the Z?
I did. It was an experience. Yeah.
Are you going to give it a nice review or a mediocre review? What are we saying?
One of those bits I like, and there's bits I don't.
Excellent. Same here.
And the bits I don't like, you can change. So.
Right, that's enough geeking out over cars. I just want to say a huge thanks, James. Thanks for having me. It's been amazing. I'm glad you enjoyed the Z, and I'm looking forward to seeing a review. So make sure you head over to JayEmm on Cars, where you'll be able to catch a review of my Z and many other awesome cars. And I hope you enjoyed hanging out with us today. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you want more like this. Give us a like and leave a comment. Let us know, what would you take, the S2000 or the 370Z? Or let's face it, I'd have both. Anyway, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on SportZnTouring.